Hello, good evening, and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation podcast live. Before we get going tonight, I just want to say a huge thank you to our fabulous members. There they are on screen now, all listed there. There they are, guys. They're the guys who have joined the channel. Remember, to join the channel, it is only 99 pence, less than a cup of cheap McDonald's coffee. It's down below. There, if you want to join, it's also on the channel homepage. Only 99 pence. Very, very cheap indeed, guys. Thank you so much to all those people, all our fabulous members, giving you a shout. Hello, guys. In isolation again, being kicked out of the office. As I've got my kids staying with me at this moment in time. We have lots of people in the live chat, but I want to first of all start by thanking Stuart and Gordon Murray and George McCall, our new members of the channel. Welcome one and all. Let's have a look in the live chat. Before we introduce the podcast tonight, we've got Nicholas Moore. Good evening, everyone from the South Wales Loyal. Good evening, Nicholas. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Hello, people. We are David Hutchison. We are the people. That's a great way of doing it, mate. We've also got Snecky Bear as well. I hope everyone is doing well. We're doing great, I think, tonight, Snecky Bear. Good on you. Logan Reed, another new name in the live chat. Evening Bears. Looking forward to talking all things Rangers, as am I. We've got Blue Nose John in the live chat as well, saying good evening, Owen, and all the teddy bears in the chat. Snecky Bear asking me if my hairdryer is broken. I don't have a hair. That's gone over my head, man, but I am tired tonight. Some person called Vlogging with Victoria, never heard of her. I think she's subscribed. Yes, but Stephen Gatsby saying evening troops. Keep it up, brother, says only for home nations. We've got loads of people. Let's quickly flick through these. Gallant Pioneer. Haven't seen Gallant for a while. Evening. Obviously, evening to Alan McGregor there. Not that I've got Alan McGregor with me, unfortunately, tonight. Would love to. Wouldn't it be great to have Alan McGregor? I think although he'd be a tough interview, I honestly reckon he would be a tough interview. Paul McGarrigle in the live chat as well. We've got loads. Evening all, says RFC 72. Good evening, says Blue Drew. Curry Muncher says, who's this guy you had caught today? What? Yeah. Vlogging Victoria says, just in Niagara Falls, be back Wednesday. Oh my God. She gets all to go all the good places, doesn't she? Definitely gets to go all the good places. And a few people asking after Victoria in the live chat. Well, guys, thank you so much to everyone who's joined the evening podcast tonight. It's just me, unfortunately, tonight. As you say, Victoria is in Niagara Falls, which apparently is a slightly more interesting place to be than talking to me, which I don't blame her for that. Another new member in the live chat. Thank you, Stephen Gillespie. Yet another new member. Thank you, Stephen. You and Minton as well. Curry Munch says shaved and haircut. For what you've been drinking. Curry, I actually haven't been drinking, mate. When I'm at work, I don't actually drink the night before I go to work. I'm very well behaved. I haven't actually cut the hair. It's just shaved the face, mate. It's just shaved the face. Making an effort now, mate. Making an effort. You know, got a partner now. Got to make an effort. You know, got to make an effort. Welcome to everyone, guys. The channel is doing so fantastically well. Your support has been brilliant. We're up to 1,951 members, I think, making that charge now towards that 2K. I'd love to be at 2K by Wednesday. You know, that would be great if we could be at 2K. Obviously, Wednesday, big podcast Wednesday. We've got not only our own amazingly wonderful Victoria, we've also got Marina Ballantyne and Caroline Morrison from Heart and Hand coming on Wednesday night. So I will truly be a thorn between three roses on Wednesday night. So yeah, definitely one. What's the topic for that, Paul? We're going to talk Charlie Cresswell. We're going to talk the Thassos Duvakis. We're going to talk sporting directors. And we're going to talk a little bit of managers, and I'll talk about that in a moment. Blue Nose John says, when I was in Niagara Falls, there was a guy playing the bagpipes, the kilt, and a Rangers tie-on. Absolutely superb. Yes, No, well, not guilty, Curry. Again, they can't get me. They can't pin anything on me, Curry. I'm not guilty yet again. Got a few people there. George A says, hello, good evening. He is from Colne in Lancashire, where my dad was actually born. Callan Pioneer, Stevie from Four Lads is coming on, is he not? We're doing our best. I've left that to Victoria Gallant. So Victoria is currently in negotiations. Absolutely. Booting the right in the Davina McCaws. Anyway, yes. So let's talk, first of all, about managers. Now, I'm going to mention him briefly, and just bear with me. There is a reason why I'm talking about this. Obviously, that lot from across the city have appointed a new manager today. We know that. They've brought that Brendan Rodgers geezer back, the one that they all loved so much, the one that, I saw some great tweets on Twitter earlier today and this morning, actually. And he said, he said, why would we don't need to slag off their manager anymore. You've got to listen to them do it themselves. Them singing about horrible things about him, wanting him to pass away in his sleep. They really do love him, don't they? Stevie is a great listen, mate. Should be returned to Twitter again in 2 days. Miss ripping the... Oh, Curry, are you banned again? Owen, are you getting the guys from Club 22 on your podcast? Blue Nose John, it is on my to-do list. I have got an awful lot to get through at this moment in time. So obviously they've appointed... what have we got here? Gallant apparently calling a man is not allowed, lol. I'm sure it was probably more than that, Curry, wasn't it? So they've appointed Brendan Rodgers. Now, Brendan Rodgers and Michael Beale have actually got a bit of a history. They've actually got history together. So, for example, did you know that they have not only faced each other on two separate occasions, but they've also worked together twice? And bear with me, you will see why I'm getting to this point in a moment. Obviously, the first time they were against each other was when Beale was a coach, Steven Gerrard. And Rodgers was still the Celtic manager at that point. So he's obviously faced him once. He's faced a Rodgers Celtic team already. Now, as well as that, Michael Beale actually worked under Brendan Rodgers at Chelsea's academy. So when Brendan Rodgers was the academy director, was youth director at Chelsea, that's how he got his start off. And Michael Beale was one of his youth coaches. So Rodgers was the guy directing it, putting his ethos across. Beale was the man applying that ethos, and obviously applying a little bit of his own ethos into that as well. And then when Brendan Rodgers was Liverpool boss, Michael Beale also worked under Rodgers then as a youth coach, as one of the youth coaches at Liverpool. So it's a good one. It's a great one because you've clearly got here that Beale has an understanding of Rodgers. He has an understanding of his ethos, his way of playing, the way he thinks, the way he sets his teams up, his tactics. He knows it all. He's worked with him. He's worked with him in two separate occasions at two massive English clubs, at Chelsea and Liverpool. He's got an understanding of it. Now, I very much doubt that Brendan Rodgers would have paid a whole lot of attention to Michael Beale as an underling. It would have been the other way round. So for me, this appointment by them is even better for us than Ange Not a Clue hanging around for another season. For me, it gives Michael Beale an upper hand. He knows his playbook. He knows how he sets his teams up. He knows how he likes to play football. He knows Rodgers probably better than Rodgers knows himself. And that's going to give Rangers and Beale, I think, a great footing going forward into this new season. And they're going to be in a period of transfer. We have got to start this next season absolutely flying. We've got to hit the ground running. We've got to smash into them from day one. And we've got to take it to them from day one. And I think with Michael Beale's coaching knowledge, Beale is an outstanding coach. You've just got to look at his past history, what he's done, where he's worked. The fact that he has this understanding of Rodgers, of his work with Rodgers, he's worked alongside him, he's worked under him. So, there's that understanding there. And they're going to be going through a period of change now. I know we are, but I think, the way we're doing business now, they've done nothing. We've already got 4 signings in. There's more to come. We're bedding these players in before pre-season. We're getting this team ready. We are in a great chance to really start next season racing and hitting the ground running and really putting them in a position where what we need to do is from day one, we put our foots on their throat and we do not take our foot off their throat for the rest of the season. And I think we've got a great chance to do that. Let's have a quick look at, obviously, the live chat. Guys been trying to talk there. It's going to be very hard going through that. Callum C says about getting his account back, I think aimed at Curry. We'll go back to talk there. Here we go. Nicholas Moore says, the Rats are that pathetic bit of work back as manager. What a joke. They must be desperate. What else have we got here? You've got any other strikers in mind, Paul, apart from the Korean or Maja? Now Devakis is out the window. We're going to talk about that shortly. RFC 72. We've got comment there. Sorry, Cam, I can't leave that for too long because I got banned from TikTok for that word. Don't care who Celtic have appointed. The work we have done under Beale is very exciting and buzzing for next year. We got a Dutch player, all good. Blue Nose John says, just before Rodgers left the first time, Stevie G was starting to get the better of him. Absolutely. And it was Beale who was his coach. Now, a lot of people you talk to, Beale was the brains behind the operation. Gerrard was more kind of like the director, the overseer. Beale was the guy putting the coaching philosophy in place, the playing philosophy in place, being the hard man in the dressing room. Beale was the man behind, was the kind of like the power behind the throne, in effect, if that sounds good. Curry says, whoever we get should have the 5 million ring fence for Tillman to help at least. Now, obviously, news on Tillman, as Curry brings it up now, we've got a situation where Malik Tillman is in a difficult position. I released a video the other day here, Rangers' latest news about him. Now, apparently, Bayern Munich are asking for more than 5 million now. Now, I know what you were going to say is we had an agreement in place, but apparently that agreement was along the lines of as long as all three parties agreed to the deal. And it now appears, obviously, that Bayern don't agree to the deal and want more than 5 million for him. There's rumours it's between 7 and 10. I think personally, there was somebody who commented. Now, if it was you that commented on my video the other day about this, said that we feel a bit used, that we kind of were the person there to showcase Tillman's talents, and Bayern are kind of going to get the benefit of that. And it's a bit like they used us. I think that's pretty fair, to be honest with you. Pretty fair. Callum says they'll be raging when Beale pumps Rodgers' team with ease. Absolutely. We've got JD says Brenda's going to be spending like coked up housewife. Green Brigade, I'm not happy with him. We've got, who else have we got? Rangers tried to pay installments. That's how they rejected it, I'm sure. I think that was the Tillman deal RFC 72 is on about. But I also think as well, RFC 72, they wanted more than £5 million for Tillman. They want, I think, in excess of that now, given how well he's done. When we start, we cannot take any prisoners. We have to keep scoring non-stop after a couple of goals. Absolutely. We ain't paying 7 million for Tillman. Paul McGarrigle says, Owen, Tillman deal might have been time restricted. It could have been. Alexander, I agree 100% with you. They are a bit greedy, wanting more money for them. Guys, I'm going to try and bring as many of your comments up tonight. Like I always say, you guys are my guests when I'm on my own. I obviously haven't got Victoria to talk with. I haven't got another guest to talk with like I had Derek Clark the other day. So you guys are my guests. Brenda will be facing a totally different Glasgow Rangers this time round. 100% agreed with you. When Tillman started discussing the qualities of the cities of Glasgow and Munich, I knew he wasn't coming back. We've got Malky in the live chat as well now. Curry says, Brenda is probably my preferred for them. As if Knudsen had come in, I think we would have been in bother. So I'm glad he did not come in. Tell Bayern to bolt any decent player we get and never get him. For me, the fact Khan finished Moles means we never deal with them again. I think that's a good point there by Stephen Gillespie, one of our new members tonight. Now, obviously, like I said, I think we've got a great chance to really hit the ground running and really go for it from day one, given obviously the fact, like I said, that Rodgers is well known to Beale. I know Beale has a slight healthy respect for him, but I think he will use that and turn that against him. And I think that will change over time, given obviously the rivalry between Rangers and that lot from across the city. Now, let's have a look. What else have we got? So we've got should have gave you a shout out if you wanted company. Yeah, Curry, I will do again in the future. If Tillman had been terrible, we would have got him for less, says Andrew Crawford. Absolutely, but he hasn't been. Definitely not. Now, obviously, the big news today has come out, obviously, regarding Scott Wright and Charlie Cresswell. And in a video earlier on, I mentioned Charlie Cresswell and I mentioned Scott Wright. And I talked about those two, obviously, and how the transfer business had obviously changed as regards those two. Now, Charlie Cresswell. Charlie Cresswell is a very talented player. I've seen Cresswell play a couple of times actually for Millwall. I watch some English Championship football down here, and I've seen Cresswell perform. Cresswell is a very good player. He is a 6'3". He's 20 years old. He's a big physical specimen, good in the air, good on the ground. He takes no prisoners. He is a no-nonsense defender. He's got a physicality to his game. And, one thing that's always been a criticism of Ben Davies, Ben Davies is a very skillful footballer. Don't get me wrong. He's got, he's good on the ground. He's good at his passing. His range of passing is very good. But one thing that's always been a criticism of Ben has been his lack of physicality for the Scottish game. But that's certainly something that Charlie Cresswell is not lacking. Let's have a look. We've got Charles Dalrymple. Charles, welcome to the show tonight. Liked Malik, but even if we couldn't have seen him staying for long, would have helped playing trainings unless he ran down his contract. Anyone heard of this Utrecht striker we are in for? Charles, we're going to talk about that. Him. Paul McGarrigle says Cresswell is a massive unit. He was third top scorer last season with 6 goals. Snecky Bear says he will not come cheap. He's valued about 4 million. 4 million. Look, the way I look at it is, unless you are a club that is on the up and up in the Championship, or you've got a player who is particularly, going places, you don't get a lot of money for those players. Now, I saw Rangers linked with Jack Clark from Sunderland the other day. Sunderland's price tag on Clark is 15 to 20 million pounds. So there is absolutely somewhere between slim and no chance that Rangers will obviously go in for Clark, as I cannot see them paying 15 to 20 million for one player, mainly because I don't think we've got that in our budget for this coming season. But in terms of Cresswell, like I said, he's a unit. He is a big unit. He's a player who can play right side of defence, left side of defence. He is pretty talented when it comes to that, the way he's come through the system. He's played for England at multiple youth levels. He's come through a Leeds system that is based on possession football, on passing the ball. He is a very talented player. Last season, he was on loan, like I said, at Millwall, and they're a tough club. That is a tough place to play. It's a baptism of fire. Whether you go down there as an opposition player or even as a home player, you've got to perform. That crowd get on your back from minute one if you mess up. Now, he's obviously returned to relegated Leeds. Now, obviously, Leeds who were relegated to the Championship from the Premier League last season. He's under contract till 2025 with Leeds United. And Leeds are currently in a stock-taking process where they're looking at, obviously, which players they want, which players they don't want going forward. And I think they're also trying to raise money as well for acquisitions as they try to build a team to get them back out of the Championship. He's got 10 appearances for the England under-21s as well. He's currently preparing for the under-21 Championships with England. So, he's clearly, obviously, very highly regarded in the England setup as well. Now, if we look at his stats, his facts, his figures, he made 28 Championship appearances for Millwall last season. He scored 5 goals and 1 assist. That's 6 goal contributions. That's more than Sam Lammers. Sam Lammers has 4 goal contributions. Cresswell has 6. He played in 54% of Millwall's starting 11s. His season was a very mixed one. He started the season being in and out of Gary Rowett's team before Christmas. Once the Christmas break was over and the World Cup break was over, he was pretty much in the team every week in, week out for Millwall. He came in, there's one thing about Cresswell as well. He was offered the chance to go back to his parent club at Christmas and go on loan to a different team if he felt it wasn't working. But no, he decided to stay. He decided to fight for his place, to prove to the manager that he was worth a place in the team. And that tells you a lot about the kid's character, doesn't it? When you've got a situation where he's coming in, he's going to fight for his place, he's going to show you that he's worth his place. It says a lot about the kid's character. He played 55% of Millwall's minutes last season and had an 11% goal participation rate, which is pretty decent for a centre-back. He made 1 appearance in the EFL Cup and 1 appearance in the FA Cup as well. So he was a very good player indeed for the club. Now, let's have a little look through our live chat again. Let's quickly get through these things. We've got Stephen Gillespie says Duvakis has won a fair few trades. Charles, goal scorer. Blue Nose John says, have Rangers balked at the price for Duvakis? Heart and Hand said Rangers are not in for him. We are going to talk about Tassos Duvakis next, so I'll get back to you on that one, Blue Nose John. All these defenders being linked, looks like Ben will be leaving. I think Prime Time, new name in the live chat, Prime Time, welcome. I think it will be a case of Ben being on the way out once we bring someone in. Obviously, Austin Trusty was linked, then Jonathan Panzo. According to rumours, those negotiations are still ongoing. Charlie Cresswell, obviously, now is the name that has been linked. 100% on Cresswell. Hit the like button, guys. Thank you very much. Right, left or right side. He can play both, mate. He can play both. He's very, very talented. Duvakis over Dessers, says Stuart. First time, I forgot, lol, just done it. What else have we got here? Callum Curry Muncher says, from what I've seen so far, Beale is going after players who have in the past shown they have something about them, lost their way and form. We defo need one player with a proven record. I think that's right, Curry. And I think it's a bit, I think it was a point the other day made on a podcast I was listening to. I can't remember whether, I think it might have been Rangers Review. They were saying that basically, Rangers could never have afforded Lammers at the top of his form. Not now, anyway, at 9 million. And I think, Dessers as well at 8 million, we probably couldn't have afforded the top of their form. So perhaps Beale's looking at reclamation projects and young players to develop. And that's kind of, I think, where we're shopping at this moment in time. But I agree with you. We do need someone, I think, as a real Premier player. Snecky Bear says, have I heard anything about Aberdeen's Clarkson? There's rumours that he's going back to the Sheep, apparently, and he's signing for them. That's what I've heard. He's signed for the Sheep, as David Hutchison backs up as well. We've got here, Blue Nose John, any idea who the grey-haired player could be that Michael Beale wants? I'll be honest with you, Stuart, I don't think we're going to get a grey-haired player. When he talked about veterans and experienced players, he didn't really mean old players. What he meant was players who had good experience in the top leagues in Europe, in playing in European competition. That's what he meant. He meant players with experience rather than players of experiences in leagues, in top leagues and top competitions, not players who are old necessarily. I don't think that's the way we're going. You look at what Rangers have instituted. They've instituted the player trading model. Now, the player trading model is based on bringing in players, developing players, selling players on. And if you bring in veterans, you can't do that. Yes, you do need an experienced spine to your team, but that experience doesn't have to be 30 plus players. It could be players that are 24, 25, 26, but have played a lot of football and have played in the top leagues across Europe and have also played in the top competitions as well. Caroline, evening to Caroline. Hope you're good. Mrs. is raging with me. I superglued. Curry, man. Curry. Heard Torino in for Dessers now, Charles. That is true. I think there's a little bit of an element, though, there of perhaps, I don't know how true that is, and it could be even Dessers' agent trying to force up the price. Any news on the Matthias Freegan rumours, says JD? They seem to have died a death, Jay. Not happening. My mum's Dutch. Love us having Dutch players in the side. Lammers will rip it up in the SPL. We certainly hope so, Stephen, that will be the case. Curry, you're a nightmare. You're an absolute nightmare, mate. 71 people watching, guys. If you can smash the like for me, that would be absolutely superb. The support you guys give is absolutely fantastic. The likes, the comments, the watches, the super chats, the super stickers, the memberships, all absolutely superb. Thank you so much for all of those. Now, let's move on to a guy who keeps coming up in the live chat. Tassos Duvakis, Anastasios Duvakis. Tassos Duvakis has many first names by the sounds of things. Plays for FC Utrecht in the Eredivisie, Greek international. A player of, well, a good player. You watch some of his highlights from the Eredivisie this year. He's played against, the Eredivisie has top teams in it. There has some good teams in it. You've got RZ, you've got PSV, Ajax, the champions, Feyenoord. You've got decent teams in that league that can do things in Europe. Feyenoord, I think, lost in the semis of the Europa League. Ajax, obviously, they've done well in the Champions League in the past couple of years. PSV, obviously, lost to us in the Champions League qualifiers. But, at the end of the day, it's a good league. Now, if you look at Tassos' record this season, 32 appearances in the Eredivisie, 19 goals, 4 assists. That's 23 goal contributions in 32 games in a Utrecht side that finished 7th. So we're not even talking about one of the top sides in the Eredivisie here. In the Cup, he scored 2 goals in 4 games, and in the Conference League, he scored 1 goal in 2 appearances for Utrecht. Overall this season, 38 appearances, 22 goals, 4 assists. That's 26 goal contributions in 38 games. For me, he is a quality player. Now, Unfortunately, Heart and Hand have tweeted out tonight that Rangers have denied any link whatsoever with Tassos Duvakis. Apparently, Rangers are not in for him. They don't want to sign him at this moment in time. Now, I was actually quite not depressed, but quite sad at this decision. Look, I know Duvakis is going to cost. I get that he's going to cost between 6 and 7 million. Um, true, yeah. Job Blue knows John. At the end of the day, he's a good player, and I'm a bit concerned that we're not going to actually be signing him. Or trying to sign him. He's a good player. You compare his records with Dessers and Lammers. I mean, Dessers 39 appearances, 10 goals, 2 assists. That's 12 goal contributions in one more game than Duvakis. And then Lammers 4 goal contributions in 34 games. Now, like Curry says, it seems that that they're going for players who are a bit of a reclamation project, players who were good in the past who he wants to rebuild. Now, for me, Duvakis is a player who is good now, who's a quality player now. Definitely someone I'd love to actually see in the Rangers team. And to see it Heart and Hand, and if Heart and Hand are tweeting it out, it's probably quite true. So yeah, a little bit concerned for me about the fact that we don't seem to be interested in this player. We don't want this player. He is a good player, and look, for me as a passionate Rangers fan, as someone who wants to see us succeed, who wants to see us do well, who wants to see us win the trophies next season, to be not in for a player like this is a little bit concerning. And look, I get it, 100% understand it. Trust Beale, trust the process, trust the scouts, trust all that. Understand that 100%. Look, I'm no genius coach, I'm no genius scout, I'm none of those things. But as a fan who cares deeply about my club, as a fan who wants my club to do well next season, as a fan who wants my club to be successful next season, someone like Tassos Duvakis for me is a player who could well be the difference between us perhaps just winning the league or winning all three, because he is that good a player. So there is a little bit of a concern there for me. Charles Dalrymple says in the live chat, grey-haired player wouldn't mind Walcott on a short term. On the right, he's a free agent. He is. Walcott, decent shout there. The only problem with Walcott might be the wages he wants. That could be an issue. Michael Moles, as Stephen Gillespie says, a legend, absolute legend. Loved Michael Moles, great player. Utrecht want 10 plus million, no chance of paying near that. I think they're going to be whistling in the wind for that. I really do. I think it's close to 7 they want for him. They'll get for him. Walcott was signed for Hibs, and Clarkson signed permanently for Aberdeen last Friday, apparently. I hadn't actually seen that. I'd missed that because I don't pay attention to them. Rangers watched him a few times, but we can't help if the team values him way out of our price range, says RFC 72. Snecky Bear says, so far we have not signed a frontman scorer. We need a decent number 9. That's got to be the concern going forward. We do need a decent number 9. We do need someone who's going to come in, who is going to, for me, who is going to come in and actually score us goals. And that's the big thing for me. That's the big one for me. We do need someone. Now, is that going to be Cyril Dessers? I don't know. I really don't know. The other name, obviously, that is big time being talked about is Josh Maja. But the whole Josh Maja situation, I think, is exceptionally complicated at this moment in time. For those of you who don't know about Josh Maja, obviously Maja is available on a free if Bordeaux don't get promoted to Ligue 1. Now, as it stands at this moment in time, Bordeaux are not getting promoted to Ligue 1. The reason being because of the fact that they were guilty of allowing a fan to run on the pitch and assault a Rodé player. So that's why they're not getting promoted at the moment. However, they have appealed that decision. So because they've appealed that decision, that is leaving a situation where Maja can't move yet, because if it goes to an appeal and if they're allowed to replay the game, if they win the game, then they will be promoted. But then Metz might counter appeal that. It all is all very, very complicated indeed. RFC 72 says in the live chat, watched him a few times, but can't have. That was the I've always said that comment. I do apologize. I try to do 3 jobs at once here. Charles Dalrymple, agree, Paul. That's why I think Cholak is an if or maybe. Whether he's leaving, we don't know that yet. Any concrete news on the Greek lad? Praying we get him. David, if you're talking about Thassos Douvakis, he isn't coming. Definitely not coming at this moment in time. How can he stop being promoted? Right, Callum, because they had to win that game to be promoted, but the game was abandoned and it was awarded to Rodet because of the assault. So at the moment, that is actually a no result, and the game has been awarded to Rodet. I think they were drawing at the time when that decision happened. So you can't stop that. You can't obviously have that player that assault going on, and because of that, the whole Maja situation is up in the air. Sorry. Do you think they will release him early if the decision goes against them? Yes, I do. I do think so, but I think Maja is someone we're going to have to wait for. Reports are if the appeal will be before the end of the summit. Yes, it will, Paul, but we don't know the outcome, and that's what probably could hold that up. Snacky Bell, I'm going to get to that in a moment. So that's the situation with Maja. Look, if we get Dessers, great. Dessers, Lammers, Cholak, Roof, they're decent. Don't get me wrong, but they're not. For me, there's still a worry there over getting the 25, 30 goals a season man that we need. Josh Maja would be that man for me. And for me, Maja's got to come. But it's a complicated situation. And I don't know where the club are up to that. Are they prepared to wait until a little bit later in the summer? Or are they not prepared to wait? Are they wanting the player in now, this moment? Obviously, that is something we've got to look at. I would love Maja to come in. He's a great player. He's a good player, and he will score 25 to 30 in the season. No way, shape, or form will he not. Snecky Bear says, obviously, is Tom Lawrence around last I heard he was training? Yes, he is around. He's starting to come back. Apparently, he will be back 2 weeks into pre-season to be eligible to play, apparently. So he is a little bit behind the rest of the squad in terms of starting at the start of pre-season, a couple of weeks behind. So he will be available, but he will obviously have lost a couple of weeks of pre-season training over the other players. RFC 72 says they needed 5 goals without conceding any more. Basically, at half time, they weren't doing that. Bordeaux, absolutely. A lady has just thought, yeah, that's my mum, Nicholas. Bordeaux were getting beat, not one when this sort of happened. I don't follow that football. That's my mum. It was harsh. One numpty doing that should be security firm being punished, not the club. Maja is a major risk now. It might be hard for the lad to get a club. Sign him on a free. A year later, you're told to pay 5 mil. That is the big risk, obviously. Do you think Beale is trying to rehabilitate Lammers and Dessers like he did with Campbell? I think that is definitely the case. I think that is definitely the case, Blue Nose John. I think there is you look at the signings he's made. Dowell is another one. Dowell is a bit of a rehabilitation case as well. Jack Butland is a bit of a rehabilitation case. We have signed a lot of rehabilitation cases, haven't we? And I think that's going to be something that Beale wants to work on. Callum C said starting lineup will be interesting. Wonder if Tav gets moved up the pitch for Sterling. That's an interesting question. When will Lammers slot right in? I think he will. Lol, she's behind you. Yes, she is. We cannot go throwing millions about. I've still got fear from 2012. Yeah, we can't, John Davidson. I think that's why Beale is not spending massive amounts of money on these players. You're looking at 3.5-4 million being the top spend. We also need Cifuentes, says Paul McGarrigle. We do. He's one, I think, that could be concluded, I think, next week. I think that's one that is still in the offing. There's still ongoing negotiations of that. Whether we wait to the 1st of July to get him or we sign him now, I don't know what's happening with him at this moment in time. It's all up in the air with Cifuentes, definitely, with what is going on at this moment in time. Obviously, the discussion this week was around the director. Ibrox Noise says, good evening, Owen, evening Ibrox Noise, hope you're well. Prime time, Lammers looked very technical on both feet. He looks like an exciting player. Just hope he finds his shooting boots. And we've landed a cracker. That's the thing. We've got to rehabilitate him. We've got to get him back to where he was previously. So yeah, definitely for me, that is one. We have a system, so that won't ever happen. We've got another comment here from Blue Nose John. If these guys fall in love with Rangers like Cantwell did, then that could provide a lot of goals for us. Absolutely. Charles says it seems like we're almost turning into a copy of the film Moneyball. Yeah, those of you who don't know the film Moneyball, it's based on the Oakland Athletics, where rather than trying to replace the players directly, they buy a number of players to try and make up the numbers of the player that's left. That's the whole thought behind it. Butland Tav, his RFC starting team: Butland Tav, Sterling, Goldson, Napanzo, Trusty, Yilmaz, Cifuentes, Raskin, Cantwell, Lammers, Majas, Dessers could be the new look team. Looks pretty decent. RF72 on papers. On papers, even. Stuart, one of our new members. Welcome, Stuart. Sifu should be in sooner than later. They want 1.5 million. We should have that to spare, but it depends if that is what they're after. Curry is right. That's what I've heard. 1.5 million is what they want now. Apparently, Rangers are willing to pay that. So I think that deal will be done sooner rather than later for Sifu. So I think that is the situation. Like I mentioned, obviously, as well, sporting director is still up for discussion. My personal opinion on the sporting director is that Rangers need a sporting director. I know why. I can see why Rangers fans are upset about it and perhaps not for the whole sporting director thing because of the fact, obviously, that Ross Wilson wasn't great, was he? He was a bit of a disaster. And I get that. And, when you've had one person who's come in and been a bit of a disaster in that role, you have a situation where you perhaps don't want to go back to that. And I can understand that 100%. But in modern football, there is literally too much for the manager to do, literally too much for the manager to do in terms of the fact that, he needs to coach the team. He needs to pick the team. He needs to spot the players. But then it's contract negotiations, negotiating with agents, transfer fees, signing on fees, overlooking the B team, the youth team. It's too much for a manager to do in the modern game. The days of, Graham Souness, who great manager, the manager where I started supporting Rangers, the days of that happening are long gone now. They really are long gone now. Most top European clubs have a director of football. Manchester City have got one. Manchester United have got one. Liverpool have one. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern Munich. They all have sporting directors. And we do need one, I think. And the model that we've got in place is the right model where the manager picks the players and the sporting director goes out and signs the players. The other system where the sporting director picks the players and gives them to the manager is the wrong system. It's a ridiculous system. I don't like it at all. So we do need a sporting director, in my opinion. He'll be in after international, says RF72. Do you think any loans we made? It's a possibility, Stuart. I think we could go after a couple of loan players just to sort of do it. England 6-0 up, apparently. What, the cricket team, Caroline, or the football team? RRM says if Beale gets it right, he's done all the work and the director of football comes in and takes the credit. I don't think he will because as fans that we will understand who's done all the hard work. Stuart, I hope we get the guy from Barca. I think it's about Torre. That could be a possible loan. How would the work permit work with Fuentes? It wouldn't be a problem because he's an experienced international. And because he's an experienced international, getting a work permit will be easier for him. And Scotland has a lot slacker work permit rules than England. Roof could be massive this season. I'm thinking this could be his year. John, I really hope so, but we've got to keep the lad fit. That's going to be the big thing. Really thing. Caroline says, soon as his achievement of swimming the channel was amazing. Yeah, I think that's... Look, before I carry on talking about that, Graham Souness, what a hero. Part of that relay team that swam across the channel, raising over £1 million for charity. That is amazing. Well done, Graham. Superb. Proud of you, Graham. I know you watch this all the time. Thank you very much for that. He ain't doing any of that. Owen picks the lads, and there's a wild team gets in the grunt work done. Yeah. Roof will be massive for Booper this season. Nicholas obviously backing up what Cameron talked about. We won plenty without one, Owen, and it all depends if you trust Beale. And for me, I do. Director of should be there at the back of the manager, not to choose who he gets. Yeah, but I think that's how we do it, Curry. I don't think that the method that Beale will put into place, where Beale will allow someone to come in and tell him what players he's having. I think Gio was quite willing to go with that model because that's what he would have been used to at Feyenoord. So I do think that Beale will be the man who picks the players. The sporting director will be the man who goes out and signs the players. I think that's how we will apply the model for us. If we get a sporting director, he should be Rangers oriented and back Beale 100%, says Snecky, but I agree with you 100% on that. Prime Time says Roof was looking trim and in great shape. Hope he can stay fit. He'd be like a new player, just like Tom Lawrence. Prime Time, 100% agree. We need a sporting director, 100%. Manager to be focused on our game, but getting ready team to run riot, 100%. I remember tickets for the museum are now available. Yes, I'll talk about that at the end as well. Apparently, Curry struggles to swim the length of the bath. Curry, how's Sasha, by the way? We all want to know in the live chat how Sasha's doing. we're kind of adopting her as a Rangers dog. So that's how Sasha's getting on. But yeah, sporting directors, obviously Carlos Bocanegra and Christian Nerling were names mentioned this week. Looks like they're not going to be coming. I don't think it's a case of them turning the job down. I think it's a case of Rangers doing due diligence and deciding they're not the guys for the club. So yeah, I do think that's the case for me. So at the end of the day, does the man necessarily have to be a Rangers man? That's a question. Does he have to be a Rangers man? Does he have to be Craig Moore? Does he have to be someone like that? I don't know. Craig Moore is certainly, I think, be someone worth considering. Paul Mitchell, the guy who was at Monaco, not any relation to the Mitchell brothers from EastEnders. I think he's a decent one as well. So, that's obviously something worth considering for definite. Blue Nose John says, what I want most for my birthday in August is a fit and firing Roof. He's truly a top draw striker. Roof is a great striker. He's probably the best finisher at the club, but you ask any Leeds fan, he never, ever stays fit. I want someone from a team like Brighton, Salzburg, Genk, Midtjylland, who have been successful. I think he's talking about sporting director there. Yeah, Davy Weir is apparently one of the guys there. Covey's bath is 50 metres long. Can he hide the money, bro? New player. The amount of surgeries he's had probably is a completely new player. Absolutely. Graham Souness for sporting director says prime time. That's an interesting shout. Blue Nose John says 100% mate. Bocanegra had 2 interviews decided to stay in America, says Paul McGarrigle. Bocanegra wasn't a great candidate, to be honest with you. Atlanta haven't really done a great deal. He's just has to be competent, Owen, absolutely. Starting from the start, mate, hope you're doing well. From Bradford, we are the people. Russell Muir, how you doing, buddy? New name, welcome, Russell. Great to have you here. Bring Davy Weir home for director of football, says Blue Nose John. That's the shout. Like I said, he's been working at Brighton, so he's been part of that system. So that's definitely, one worth considering for me. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I'm going to call that a pod for tonight. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you for all your questions. Thank you for all your contributions to the live chat. We've had a little bit of a chat about a few things tonight. Always great to talk Rangers. Love talking Rangers. Love talking Glasgow Rangers. Nothing else you can talk about. Sasha, here's the update about Sasha. Sasha is doing fine, mate. Really quiet, but the heat has a lot to do with it. Being a little diva, as per though. Obviously learns it from her own diva. Got here in the live chat. Let's quickly flick through some last few comments in the live chat. JD says, just hope we get someone competent director of football after Wilson's tenure. That's the use, isn't it, Paul? Hit the like, says RM. Thank you very much. Charles Dalrymple says, RFC 70, the guy that owns Brighton owns Union St. Gilloise. He's not a sporting director, but the way he's made money is with software for betting. It looks like every aspect of that data would do well. Thank you, Nicholas. Caroline says, give a hug to Sasha for him. Cheers, Owen. Great answered everything. Thank you, Snecky Bear. I try my best. Obviously, look out for the video in the morning. We'll be releasing, obviously, our daily early news video, so please check out that. As always, guys, absolute pleasure speaking to you here on the channel. A channel that we are going strength to strength. We're looking to obviously grow this channel to be one of the biggest Rangers channels out there. We're on 1,951 subscribers, I think it is at the moment. So if you haven't yet subscribed, please hit that sub, ring that notification bell, and if you can give the channel a like, that would be absolutely fantastic. Sasha came, apparently. Fantastic. Great show. Thank you very much, guys. Old theme music back, says Nicholas. I'll have a look into that if I've still got it on my system. Nicholas, I don't know if I've still got it or not. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And as always, remember, we are the people.